I intend on making this for people who have never used Photoshop or have barely used it. I'm also going to go off the assumption that you've already installed Photoshop and you're ready to get going. So, in order to get started, I thought the best way would be to ease ourselves into gaining a familiarity with the layout of the program. So, when you open up Photoshop, you should get a screen similar to this. I'm using a PC, but everything should be relatively the same if you're using Mac. Just to get into it, press Create New and select Default Photoshop Size. Hit Create, and we'll get more into that section later, and you should get this screen. And one thing to keep in mind is my version of Photoshop will probably be different than yours depending on when you're watching this. However, it's nothing to worry about. It should be all relatively the same. So Photoshop is designed in a way that you control how you want your setup to be. Think of it as a desk. You have certain tools at your desk and you get to decide where those tools go. Photoshop is no different from this concept. This is also true for most other Adobe programs. So many of the commands and methods I'll be showing you here are going to be universal to all other Adobe programs. Okay, let's get into the actual layout of the program. There are 4 main spaces to be concerned with. So we have this large area in the middle. This is where our image will be. And we have the top bar where our options are. The left and right areas are where we can set up our workspace. Before we go any further, I want to make sure our setup is the same. So let's go up to Window, Workspace, Photography. You can also easily access this in the top right corner of this drop-down menu. Now this should make your workspace similar to this. Okay, so let's look over here at the toolbar over to the left. This bar consists of many different icons that we call tools, and each of them can be left-clicked to equip that tool. This toolbar is very important. I'll be going through some of the important ones throughout the course, but for now, let's stay selected on the Move tool right at the top. If we take a look at this top bar up here, which is also called the Options bar, there's also many icons and things up here that we're not going to worry about for right now, but just know that this bar is for tweaking the tool you've selected. So this changes whenever you select a different tool. Now, like I said, Photoshop is designed to work how you want to work. So the left and right windows are actually movable. So for example, the toolbar, if you left click right here on this black bar and drag it out, you can actually move it around and place it anywhere you'd like. Now, I wouldn't recommend dropping it right smack in the middle. That would be blocking your image and just kind of weird. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you want to, you can. And that's just the freedom of Photoshop. So right now, our toolbar is in a state that we call undocked. That just means it's sort of floating in space. Or you could make the analogy of this as a boat and it's floating at sea. That also works. But anyway, there are 2 main docks to place our toolbar at, the left and right side. If we want to dock our toolbar, we just need to drag it over to the left side and wait for this little blue outline to appear, and we can just let go, and now it's docked. Docking just helps with organization. It's not really going to change anything dramatically. Something also to mention is that you can expand and collapse your windows using these arrows right here. Expanding it will make it bigger and it may provide more detailed options, especially with these windows on the right side. These windows can also be undocked, and they can actually be docked on top of each other. So I can just take out Navigator right here and place it maybe in this tab or up here or wherever. Just know if you hit this top bar up here, everything under it will be pulled out as well. But you can take all these out and just put them wherever you want. And if you ever get something really weird like this, you can always go up back to this drop down menu and press reset or select a different one if you want. But for right now, we're using photography, so that will reset it all and be all good. Now, with a little bit of experimenting, you can really get anything you want. Some windows are sizable too, like I'm doing here. If you just grab right in between, you can make this, give this a little bit more space, but this will be a little bit less. You can drag it out this way, you can bring it back in, do whatever you want. Now, if you ever want to get rid of a window, you can always go up to this button right here and you can go ahead and close it and get rid of that. And you can actually bring it back by going up to Window and finding whatever you got rid of and selecting what you want. You can bring in new windows and do all that.